Long ago, I remember being a kid in the mean streets of New Jersey suburbia. And on those mean streets, you had to make sure to be radical. Because being a lamer there meant you fell victim to all the gnarly bully gangs. All there with the agenda to take your money. For many years, I fell victim to this. Beaten, broken, and without a groove. Until one day, I discovered a game. Booyah! Never in such a cold and stale world have I seen such a game with amazing steez to it. And it was such a sick and trick series that taught me so much. It taught me music, the language of the soul. It taught me dancing, the response with the body, and art, the expression of the self. Hell, it taught me things about myself that I didn't know. Now, 15 years later, I come back to give my respect on a great series. Now discovering it too is coming back one last time. Here I stand with all these great games that defined a generation and its predecessors that I'm going to test it for all that. Did they succeed? Did they fail? We will find out. This is Jet Set June! Okie dokie, everyone. Before we continue, I want to make a disclaimer. I have not finished any of these games with the exception of Cyberfunk, and that was because I had time beforehand. I just wanted to share an experience towards all these games and figure out what I want for the next Jet Set Radio game and have a criteria of what having the Jet Set Radio feel is. With that being said, let's start off with taking a look at every single Jet Set Radio-like game that I could get my hands on. All of them.
Am I a joke to you?
Uh-huh. Jet Set Radio! What can I say that hasn't been said before about this game? Well, I can say it in a different way that I would love to tell it. Everything in regarding to the art direction in this game is amazing, and it just makes me gush. My ADHD brain just tickles it. From all the characters just seeming like they have a tune inside their head towards how the gangs interact with each other, to just seeing the buildings and just seeing the cell shading. Everything has style and life to it in this game. If I had the opportunity and the ability to look at just all the environment in this game and just see how they do something, I would just take so much inspiration of that, and I would just love it more. Speaking of great things in this game, it also has a pretty sick soundtrack. There is a ton of diversity when it consists of the tracks in this game. Sweet Soul Brother is one that I love listening to, and it is probably my favorite of the entire bunch. But there's also a ton of other great ones. Yappy Feet, you've heard in the beginning of the intro with my animation. It has a remix of Dragula, which is pretty neat. OK House gives me kind of a mischievous vibe to it, and it makes sense because you're going to be causing graffiti to really just shove it to the squares in this game. Pretty much this entire soundtrack is gnarly, and there has to be at least one song that really rustles your jammies, that really wiggles your finger, that really makes you do the crip walk. Oh my god, Tittle, you're basically talking about everything we already know of the game. We already know that the game looked great. We already know that it sounds great. Do you have anything else to add? Aren't you a freaking smartass? Well, I guess this is also the obvious too, but there are some cons with this game. Not only are the controls dated, but you're extremely slow. You have a button that you could use to speed up a little bit with your rollerblades, and while that sounds fine and dandy, it barely works. The rail system in this game requires you to be right on top of the rail, otherwise you're simply not going to be able to grind. Really makes the old magnetic rollerblades worth it. If you don't have a certain amount of momentum when you're grinding on a rail, you will fall back down, and sometimes you'll just fall right off the rail. I'm not appreciative of the time limit in this game. I would have preferred a timer that would have affected your score on how fast or slow you are, but having a time limit really doesn't do it justice. After all, there is a huge stage that they put in on the Sega Dreamcast that was impressive, and you can't really see much of it because you have to be doing all of the graffiti work, and there's no way for you to actually go back to the old stages if you want to improve your score, at least to my knowledge. On top of how difficult it is to grind on this game, it's also even more challenging given the fact that they throw tear gas, they have tanks, they have people coming out of frickin' parachutes and shooting you in order to stop you from doing a little bit of graffiti. The Rokkaku group really doesn't screw around. They want you dead. It's a lot. I just get the impression that when you're trying to play the game in progress, it just trolls you. There's a silver lining though. There is a silver lining. You can halt the progress of your graffiti immediately and you could just escape and roam around. You could avoid the police, you could avoid tear gas, etc. That's neat, that's good, and if it wasn't in there, I would absolutely be infuriated with this game even more. A friend told me that this game works best on the Sega Dreamcast controller on the console, and that the Steam and emulated versions aren't going to do it justice, which really sucks. It really sucks that the Steam game isn't a great way to play it. It's only a moderately decent way to play it. Despite that, I believe you should play this game, not only because the Steam one is very cheap, but there could be a chance that there is a community of modders that can make the controls better or make it slightly easier so you can roam around or take out the time limit. I'm not too knowledgeable on that, and if it's not there, it really should be. Jet Set Radio Future, a huge improvement in almost every single way from the first game. You get a higher frame rate, you get a speed boost, you actually can grind horizontally and vertically on rails and even street lamps. While you really can't fight the cops in this game, you still can budge through them and have them fall on their face, spray paint their backs, and make them lose their will to live, which is a pretty good trade. The areas in this game is more open world and there's no more time limit. Professor K loves to laugh at you every time you fall into the water. Everything that I asked for in the first game. Yahoo! Of course, the soundtrack is also fantastic. Although I don't think it has as much diversity as the first one, there is a lot of highlights in this one as well. You got Aisle 10, you got Concept of Love, the obvious one, you got Statement of Intent, you got Birthday Cake, although that one sounds a bit like your Hello, Allison, I wanna hold your hand. I haven't been the same man since I saw you coming in. What is love? What is free love? What is love? Please don't take that comment personally. And on top of that, I'm not really the big fan of just the more bloomy and sunset color schemes that this game has in comparison to the saturation and cartoony vibes from the first one. But I understand, they're trying out new technology, and we also got a higher frame rate, so win-win. I pretty much recommend this game to anybody. I would say if you're a casual, if you just want to play some type of skating games, if you just are curious even remotely about Jet Set Radio, I absolutely recommend this one as it's just so much fun. You get a decent trick system. Unlike the first one, you actually get to grind. There's not too much opposition with the cops as much as the first game. It's just great. All right, dudes, before I start the next game, I just want to take a family traditional, graceful Polish sausage break. I've heard a lot of praise about this one by YouTubers. Boy, is it gonna be so much fun. One way to find out. Oh. Must keep on moving ahead. Oh. No time for guessing, follow my pain instead. Whoa. Whoa. want to make one thing clear. I'm very well aware that this is a forgettable 2007's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater ripoff. Aside from the poor controls of the aerial segments of this game, to also how the graphics look rather uncanny nowadays, this game is absolute insanity when it comes to tricks. You could bunny hop and increase your adrenaline, and all of a sudden you're just basically hopping from one side of the street to the other. You get a homing attack, and I'm gonna keep on emphasizing the homing attack. I need a homing attack. I need it, Sega. Usually you think it would just end there, but you could just wall ride on one corner to another and just defy gravity once again. You could get run over by a car, and you could use your grappling hook to get on the car, let the drivers and the car know that you own them. Then you could use your grappling hook again to go on top of a glider, and then have that go down on the same car and have them both blow up and grind back down to safety. When it consists of civilians, vehicles, robots, and the laws of physics, you are a menace, and I love it. Once again, I have to say, this is a broken mess of a game, and quite frankly, it's the least Jet Set Radio like, is the one I have the most fun with, and I'm not sorry, this game slaps. Oh yeah! Alright, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. This is the most recent addition towards the series, and it's also the most faithful. The graphics in this game, despite it being modern, is appreciative towards a low poly aesthetic, as you can see from the civilians, from the buildings, and even the cars and cans. Despite it's supposed to be round, they have it as hexagons, which is a neat little fact. There is a trick system that is a mix between Skate Attack that we've previously seen and Jet Set Radio Future. It's not as basic as the Jet Set Radio Future game, and it's not as complex as Skate Attack with all these different types of tricks, but it's there. It's also simple and satisfying to do. Another thing to note is the soundtracks in this game are also really nice. You have, for highlights, you have Get Enough, which is the trademark one in this game. You have Feel the Funk. It's my personal favorite. In the Pocket is the menu theme, and I didn't appreciate it when I first listened to it, but that one also slaps. Condensed Milk is a nice vibe to it. Funk Express is decent. I also like HW Bouts, that one I like. And dare I say it, I think the soundtrack in this game is better than Future. On top of its great soundtrack and Jet Set Radio-like visuals that we all know and love, I also appreciate the Graffiti Foo in this game. What is Graffiti Foo, you say? You actually get to fight in this game. Unlike the previous three ones, with the exception of the homing attack, you actually get to do some combat and kick the police officers in the air, have them just basically fly, combo them with spray paint, and have them run away. That is metal. Graffiti Foo doesn't end with just the police. It's with every single billboard or option to spray paint in this game in general. And it never gets old. You also get a mid-air dash, something that not a lot of these games have, and it's a great way to recover. On top of that, you also have a fantastic modding community, and Movement Plus just completely changes everything. Just watching compilations and tricks of that looks absolutely sick. I don't know what else to say. The only kind of drawback I have to say is that this game is short, but with the amount of different stages in the modding community and all the different things you could do with said mods, I think you're gonna be able to play this for a long time. I can't really think of anything wrong to say about that. If I was to rate the games, I would say Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is at the top to Future. Honestly, Skate Attack is at number 3, and the original Jet Set Radio, I would have to say, is at the bottom, if I was going to rank them all. I'm not saying any of them are bad. I had fun with every single game in this. And that's it. That's every single Jet Set Radio game I can find.
Not so
No more
fast.
else.
I'm talking to you. Trying to pull a fast one, aren't you? Well, I caught you. Oh, I see it in your face. Who am I, you may be thinking? I'm the 4 other games you promised to play. Well, aside from the other ones you also promised to play.
What?
You turned your back on me, Kittle. And now, you are going to pay. Oh shit. Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. I forgot I have something important to do. Alright, hold on, I just gotta... Alright. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mikey. Happy birthday to you. Okay, sorry about that. Now that that's done.
Oh god.